Hey guys, my verdict here back again. And guys, I'm here to talk about, give you my overview and review of the second season of My Adventures with Superman. The season finale was, I think it was uh, a week ago before San Diego Comic Con. Season 2 was very interesting. I like what it focused on. Probably my favorite Superman villain, Brainiac. It also introduced Lex Luthor into the series. He was still young, and I didn't mind that. I didn't mind how they introduced him. That he was working for Amanda Waller. A lot of season 2 focused on expressing oneself, a part of how one feels in terms of family. This is definitely the season of where Lois kind of had to embrace the fact of what her father was, and embrace how she felt about him. And we got to see like a different side of General Lane, but because of that, a little bit that he did care about her, but just in his own way. We also, of course, got more of how Clark is dealing with being quote unquote alone, being different, and but being loved, but also being alone because of he is different. He's Kryptonian. And of course, him getting to know more about Krypton, the way they expressed it. And I actually liked how they expressed what Krypton was like. And like I said, still to this day, this is probably the most badass looking Jor-El that I can think of. The Jor-El in this looks badass. And we got to see his mother, Alana, in this, Laura. This time around, Clark showcasing new powers was interesting. I thought that was really cool. As well as they introduced more of Superman's supporting cast. We got to see John Henry Irons in this, and I thought that was interesting. Just the way they introduced him, as well as how it was always a question, like for me when he came out, will he getting the steel suit? And he kind of did. The way they made the suit to be in this was very interesting. I was like, oh, okay, it's clunky, but it's bigger. It reminded me of his suit definitely reminded me of like Robotech. Like it was like the anime Robotech. I was like, okay, I could see where it's coming from. He still had the hammer and things like that, so it was cool. But like I said, it focused on that meaning of family as well. And we are introduced to Supergirl, Kara, for the first time, and she comes down and shouts out to creative and designing her to look like Android 18 when she was in like civvy clothes. I was like, I picked that up real quick. I'm like, yeah, she looks like Android 18. I was like, yeah. But I actually like the way they introduced her, because the one thing that most of the time when they introduce Supergirl into a series, they always go the route of kind of like, oh, when she got long, like they used the real origin, like, oh, when she got shipped off, but her ship got crashed and it messed up her stasis, so that's why she looks so young. She looks younger than Clark and things like that. But here they kind of did it differently. Like, they basically showcased that she had already known about Clark to a degree, and when she comes down, she comes to Earth. When she finds him, she's a little mortified by him. She's kind of like, why are you hanging out with these primitives? Like it went that route real quick. It went like that route. I'm like, what the hell? Like, why are you doing that? Like, why is she acting like that? I mean, yes, if we're talking technology wise, yes, okay. In the Superman universe or whatever, yeah, we're miles below, uh, miles below that. So why not enforce that? Not enforce it, but here she enforces it a lot, and she feels very disgusted by Clark's actions in terms of who he chosen, and a lot of things. Even after Jimmy showed her a good time, once she sees Clark, she's all mortified by it, and she gets into a fight with him, and she basically kidnaps Clark. And I actually like that he was pissed off about that, like, you kidnapped me, like. And then of course that's when he comes face to face with her father, as she said, but really it's Brainiac. Once I saw the robot, I'm like, that's got to be Brainiac. Did I mind the design of Brainiac in this? Not really. It reminded me a little bit of he reminded me a little bit of what was that series for it was in the Batman Beyond. Oh, Zeta. There you go, Zeta. That's who the design of Brainiac looked like in this. Zeta. Remember that TV show? Remember? Excuse me. Man, it's a chair. Remember that TV show? It was a spin-off of Batman Beyond. We first saw him in Batman Beyond, and he was a robot that can morph into anybody he wants, and he wanted to be free, and he was more sentient. And then of course, after he showed up on Batman Beyond, he got his own series, and it ran for I think it ran for 2 seasons. But yeah, that's what it reminded me of. And so basically, we've seen that he kind of brainwashed, indoctrinated. He did the stereotypical Brainiac ordeal of using someone else as a tool, and he used Kara as a major tool, and she didn't even see it until she finally went to go see for herself because she couldn't remember. He felt a little differently, even though Brainiac is my favorite Superman villain, and he felt different in this. Like he didn't really pound over the head that knowledge is what he seeks. It was a little differently, but it still paid off in the end, because it was nice to see Clark and Kara family come together and realize, especially Kara realized, like, oh, she's being played. I was glad, because I thought she was gonna die at the end. I was like, oh, don't do this. Clark's new suit looks highly familiar. It looks like highly familiar, as well as, and I love Kara got her own. I love how they tried to like blame a lot of this stuff on Superman, and that's why Amanda was able to get what she wanted. I mean, she went all out there with martial law and all this other stuff, and they even had Hank Henshaw in here. I was like, oh, are we getting him, and things like that. So it paid off. Even from the fact that Livewire ended up with Heat Wave, I was like, okay, that was different, but not. I wasn't like, whoa, but it was different just to see that, But I love that Livewire kind of realized, showcased like she's more than just the villain or a villainess and things like that, but she got heart. She loves someone, and I thought that was great. Um, and of course we see Vicky Vale again. She's in here again, and she wanted Lois to come to Gotham, and I'm like, oh, they really gonna go to? They already introducing Gotham. I kept saying to myself, are they gonna introduce you know who? And then of course at New York at San Diego Comic Con they asked the team that same question, are we gonna see Batman? And the guy said, not right now. He said if we get more seasons, maybe we'll start thinking about that. Look, the moment you start incorporating, personally, me, the more when you start incorporating other famous DC cities, you better you almost automatically that's a hint that we may see that character. If they had said, oh, we're going to Central City, then you better be ready to introduce the Flash or something like that. Keystone City, one of the Flashes. It doesn't matter. Coastal City, like you got to be careful with that. I mean, this is the DC universe, and yes, you can say, but we're trying to keep that from that. But at the same time, it's like these cities are important. They're important. They're famous cities in DC, so you got to be careful with that. So yeah. But I did like the season. I thought it was great. I thought it was it better than the first season? Yes, it improved much better, especially with the character development of certain characters. I love that Kara. She understood what she had done, and understood that she was being used as a tool, and by the end of it she came out a better person out of it, my biggest fear was Kara was going to die. They were going to kill her off, and I was like, oh, don't do that. Like, don't introduce her and then kill her off right away after she makes this triumphant return to who she is. This also they really put the emphasis on kryptonite in this more, especially with Brainiac using it a lot. But Amanda, she lost it. She kind of lost it. She had to come to realize that no matter what, the world needed Superman, and you couldn't do it because once Brainiac started upping the ante, and they started using his technology again and things like that, he was like, oh, okay, well. And Amanda's trying to Lex. How did he know how to do that? I don't know. And to me it was the most breathtaking and most funniest thing to see, because I was just like, yeah, that's good for you. See, you thought, oh, we'd have the edge, but as soon as when you realize whose technology this was, yeah, it always Brainiac was like 2 steps ahead of him, which I appreciate. They mention a lot of different alien races that you would probably think of, like Thanagarians. They may mention that and things like that. But yeah, I did like the season. It was a fun season. It was fun. I'm looking forward to season 3, which they will be back. And at San Diego Comic Con, they announced that I saw images and image designs of Superboy is coming. And he looks very much like '90s Superboy. So we're probably still gonna tap into that he is a clone of Superman. He probably will be, if they switch his origin a little bit. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, oh, he's not a clone of Superman and Lex. Lex is here, so, and I wouldn't be surprised if they keep it intact. They haven't really changed people's origin lore, but I would be a little upset if they didn't keep him like he's a clone of Superman and a clone of Lex or something like that, because they could easily say like, well, Clark was he got hurt, when kryptonite was in him, and he actually bled or something like that, and they used it. But outside of that, I'm happy to see that they're okay. I do feel a little jaded by that. Like they rushing a Superboy already. Like I will say that I'm a little jaded about that. Like, why rush that real quick? Don't Lex just got integrated. You just introduced Lex, so you could have maybe waited for Superboy. You could have waited a little bit for Superboy or anything like that. You just introduced Supergirl too. Like, so that's my only kind of take on the Superboy intro. I'm like, they're kind of introducing him a little too fast. So. But outside of that, yeah, it was fun. It was a good show. I enjoyed it very much. If I was ranking it, this gets a solid 8.5. On account most of that because I do love Brainiac. I wish the season was a little longer. I think to me that was something that kind of bothered me. The season was shorter than I wish they'd have gave them like maybe 12 episodes. Something more than 10 that they did. Hopefully the next season will be a little longer. You guys can give them a little bit more because sometimes it felt. I will say also, this season did feel a little rushed at times. I'm like, okay, they seem to be rushing through some of the stuff. So that's why it gets like an 8.5 for me. Still good, but could have been better. But I enjoyed it very much. I did enjoy it. Don't think I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy this season of My Adventures of Superman. I like the new suit, as said before. And I'm glad, Kara didn't die, because I was scared she was going to die. If she had died, I probably would have given this a lower rating. Like, it would have probably gotten a lower rating, because I'm like, yo, you got to kill her off. Like, But in terms of, can't wait to season 3. I like that. I like the design of Superboy. It's screaming 90s look, with the leather jacket and stuff. But I do feel they are rushing him too quickly. And I wonder if that's a fear of, well, we got to bring him in quick because we don't know if we'll get renewed again or something like that. But I love that they're keeping the lore, the core element of Superman, but just twisting a little bit to make it their own. And I appreciate that. So guys, outside of that, guys, you tell me, what did you think of the second season of My Adventures of Superman? Leave your comments in the section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I would appreciate that very much. Please be honest in the comment section down below. If you didn't like this season, or if you don't like the show, please tell me. Tell me why. If you didn't like it, why don't you like it? Things like that. Is it the anime feel? Is it because I have a couple of buddies that don't like the show because of that. They're not really feeling the anime look, the anime style, as one of my buddies said, that the Sailor Moon vibe and things like that. I have a couple buddies that don't like it. They just can't really get into it, and that's fine. They explain why. Their honest opinion. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm not gonna hurt you over it. But outside of that, guys, you guys take care. Deuces.